There's a real love that goes into the house from everyone that works here, and I think all of our visitors really do pick up on that.
Welcome to Weston Park, one of the most magnificent and progressive stately homes in Britain. The stunning 17th century house is surrounded by over 1,000 acres of glorious parkland and is as rich in cultural history as it is in rural beauty. The history of Weston dates back as far as the Domesday Book, and from then to the present day, it has been developed with a passion and vision, the results of which can be seen today. For several centuries, Weston has been the family seat of the Earls of Bradford, and each generation has contributed to the rich heritage by developing the gardens, the house, or the parkland. In 1986, these were gifted to the nation by the family. The house that you see today was built in 1671. This was the vision of the young Lady Elizabeth Wilbraham, whose patronage of the architect William Taylor came from studying her Palladio's Book of Architecture, her annotated copy of which is still in the collections at Weston. Elizabeth's daughter married Richard Newport, 2nd Earl of Bradford, whose father Francis, 1st Earl of Bradford, was an ardent royalist during the Civil War, and together with his youngest son, Lord Torrington, built a fine collection that inspired future generations to follow in their footsteps. Throughout the house, there are many objects of beauty and historical importance, each of which tells a story.
There are many notable items here in the collection, particularly the Van Dycks and the Lelys that are in the dining room. But I would also highlight things like the tapestries, the Gobelin tapestries in our tapestry room, which were commissioned by Sir Henry Bridgeman in the 1770s. And they are very, very special, not only to Weston, but to the country, because they were one of only 5 sets made and commissioned by families in the UK. I'm standing here in the library, which has a slightly more tragic story to it, and that's the story of 2 sisters, Lucy Bridgeman and Charlotte Bridgeman. They were here by the fire in the library, and Lucy's dress caught fire from an ember that came out, sparked out of the fire and erupted literally into flames, and her sister Charlotte bravely leapt upon her to try and save her, and they both later died of the extensive burns that they received. It's hard to know what would have happened with Lucy in the context that she was a pioneer with her sister in the new technology of photography. And we have some wonderful photographs from the 1850s in our collections here, and indeed they are on display in our coffee bar, so visitors can go and see those and enjoy them. A more humorous story, almost Pythonesque in its tale, is of the yellow parrot that you can see in the drawing room. This was a parrot that was given to Selina, Countess of Bradford, by Disraeli as a gift. And this parrot lived in the orangery for some 30 years. Everyone assumed it was a male parrot, and incredibly it laid 23 eggs in 24 days and keeled over from the effort, obviously, at the end of it. And as a mark of respect, the parrot is now on display in the drawing room.
Surrounding the house is Weston's sublime rolling parkland, which was originally laid out in the 17th century. However, part of the landscape was transformed into the stunning pleasure grounds created by Capability Brown in the 18th century. This series of green rooms reveal one treasure after another, including the Temple of Diana, the Temple Pool, and the Roman Bridge.
I'm the direct descendant from John G, who was my great-great-great-grandfather. John G came here from a place called Weeting in Norfolk in 1803. The first Earl of Bradford inherited Weeting estate. So that's sort of the connection how John G came over to work at Weston. He came from Weeting with 3 horses, a wagon and 2 ploughs, and he became a champion ploughman. And ever since then, the family have worked on the estate in various roles, mostly agriculture, until myself. The highlights of the garden, I mean, they've covered various areas, but the main feature I think is the formal gardens on the south front of the house. But extended from that is the Capability Brown landscape and the pleasure grounds. And within the pleasure grounds is the Temple of Diana. Temple of Diana was built in 1770 for Sir Henry Bridgman. James Pain designed the Temple of Diana, Diana being the goddess of hunting, and they say possibly housed the first greenhouse we had at Weston. At the rear of the temple there was a small stream going through, and they dammed that up to create a 3-acre lake. And over the lake, Pain designed a bridge. It carried the main driveway in from off the London Road, which we now know as the A5. I think the Teardrop Garden is my favourite garden because it's quite isolated. There's a stone statue in the centre of the garden, which is known as the Weeping Lady. And surrounding that is a bed edged with box planted up with summer flowering perennials, and that's in the shape of a teardrop. And then around the boundary of the Teardrop Garden is the Weeping Pears, which will link in with the story of the teardrop.
Closer to the house is the Shrewsbury Walk, which leads to the long curve of rose-lined walls along the Rose Walk. For family fun and excitement, there is the Woodland Adventure Park. The series of slides and wooden walkways are built amongst the towering trees that surround them. Great food has always been at the heart of the Weston Park experience, and the most outstanding part of the modern development of Weston has been the conversion of the architecturally famous granary, which was built in 1767, into an art gallery, a farm shop, and the Granary Grill restaurant, which are open daily all year round. The farm shop and restaurant have rapidly gained a fine reputation for their devotion to local produce and fresh, seasonal food.
The Granary Grill restaurant has been open since May 2010. Our produce comes from our own gardens and from our local butchery. Everything we make in the kitchen is homemade. Nothing comes in a box and goes onto a plate. So we're trying to sort of give everyone a real feel of quality, but hopefully we've done enough to sort of keep it cost effective so people come and go and feel they've had value for money. We've gone for a very much a grill with a Mediterranean influence and twists into the food. The whole idea behind the grill is that we have a kind of a theatre going on with the open plan aspects of the kitchen. We didn't want to be that kind of gastropub, and also we don't want to be a fine dining kind of establishment. So we're kind of looking for nice, easy, relaxed, but with a good quality.
The restaurant supplies the shop with chef specials, various tasty puddings and ready meals.
I've introduced probably about 17 to 20 new suppliers, mainly local suppliers of local artisan cheese, new ciders, sauces that you can cook every day with, really competitive prices so people don't have to pop to the supermarket thinking it might be cheaper. Here you can buy the meat from the butchery, which is local meat. All our lamb is raised on our land, Staffordshire beef, local bread from Bridge North, which is not too far away, and cakes, homemade products made in the own house by our own chef. And my favourite product in the shop is chef's cheesecake. I probably could buy 2 a week if I didn't want to look after my figure too much.
Originally built as a great barn for Sir Henry Bridgman in the mid-18th century, this large part of the estate has had many uses, including a pheasant hatchery and workshop. In converting the upper level into an art gallery, the designers have made full use of the original beams and large light space, which is perfect for exhibiting art. The state-of-the-art environmentally controlled space is home to monthly selling exhibitions and precious items on loan from private collections, as well as being a fabulous place to visit for the day, do your shopping, or meet friends and family for lunch. Weston is host to some of the most exciting events in the region's calendar. Home to the V Festival, International Horse Trials, the Midland Game Fair, and annual bonfire and firework extravaganza, amongst many others. This beautiful stately home, which once played host to royalty, politicians and dignitaries, is now a stunning venue available for hire for many corporate events, weddings and private parties, creating a truly special country house party experience. Your visit today supports the work of the Weston Park Foundation in maintaining and preserving this beautiful estate.